I might as well get started on it, man. What's up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Hey, check this out, man. This joint is 2 hours long, dude. God damn, the full interview. I definitely gonna have to chop this up into sections, or maybe I'll make it all one video. But I'm gonna take a break, so I'm gonna get started because I'm interested, man. Roger Bonds. Roger was one of Diddy's bodyguards. He worked with Bad Boy. You know, I'm still getting all this stuff together. I ain't, you know, he wasn't Diddy's bodyguard. He was Biggie's bodyguard, or he worked with he was Cassie bodyguard. He worked with the goddamn. Hey, if you say one word wrong, man, the comment section just jump all over you. Well, not my people, not y'all. You know what I'm saying? One person. Nigga, go get up. Oh my God, dude. I swear to God, we need to talk. Me and you need to talk. All this talent I got up in me. All this talent I got up in me. All this talent I got up in me. And you got a nerve to talk? Show me what you can do. That's all. Just show me what you think you can do. Anyway, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, man. I got 2 songs I uploaded. I got 4 songs total that I'm gonna put out. Yeah. I got a hater song. I got the story of Mike Cross. And they real short songs. They ain't like I'm making a big old album. Just enough so you guys can support. So I got 3 more. So it's 2. That's 5. I did it. I got 5. I wanted to put a little mini album out, 5 songs. So it's 5 total. Anyway, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy. This is coming off of Vlad TV, y'all.
All right, here we go. Roger Bonds. Welcome back to Vlad TV.
Here we go, Roger Bonds.
Salute, General. Salute.
Now, the last interview was massive.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. People still hit you about that like pretty much every day, yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. They said, yo, did you get your money for that interview? I said, yeah, we good. We good.
That's right.
No,
That's right.
I ain't get my money. Why they got to go straight to the money?
The trial has started. Because last time he had been arrested, he was facing trial, but now the trial has started. Now, have you been called to testify?
No, I haven't.
Okay. But didn't the feds reach out to your lawyer at one point?
I'm not even sure. The lawyer said that they would get back in touch with me and if anything was anything, and they never got back in touch with me about anything.
Okay, but they did touch base with your lawyer at one point.
I know either they touch bases or my lawyer touch bases. I know they did touch bases.
Got it. If they called you and asked you to testify, would you do it?
I mean, it depends. I mean, I'm always going to stand up for what's right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I feel like if they call me to testify, I'm not going to not testify. If you call me to testify, I'm going to testify. Now, whether I plead the fifth or whatever, I'm going to go and I'm going to testify.
Got it. Well, from what I understand, a lot of the people who are testifying are given immunity because they potentially are part of some of these crimes and so forth.
Right.
In one way or another. So, a bunch of the witnesses have immunity. So if they gave you immunity, would you be down to basically say everything?
I'm going to tell you the truth, man. A lot of these things that they talking about, a lot of stuff that they talking about, like when they talk about D-Rock running in the Suge Knight, when they talk about some of the stuff, I've just by the grace of God was either off that day or either was in New York that day, and I would hear about those things when I got back. So I think it was like, God giving me a blessing not to be there or be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't have no problem testifying about what I played a part in because I feel like I was an employee, period. You know what I'm saying? Point blank. That wasn't my man. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he ran a company, a Fortune 500 company. It wasn't like he ran no gangster company. He ran a Fortune 5 company, and I was happy to be a part of it.
I mean, would you say by the end of your time there that you and Puffy were friends?
Yeah, I would. I say that. But now when I look back on it, he don't have no friends. You know what I'm saying? And that's a real, like some people be like, nah, because you could think something is something that is really not.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And I thought we was friends. I thought at the end of the night, you know what I'm saying, when he'd be like, yo, I am my brother's keeper. At the end of the night, when he say I love you and you say, yo, I love you back. When you part of the streets, you take that to heart. But when you mastered
Business.
the business, you realize that's part of the business. You know what I'm saying? And I think he mastered the business. He tell you what you want to hear.
Exactly.
He tell you how to get the best work out of you.
Exactly.
How to push
The
you
business.
and everything else. And he knows those type of things is what's going to push you and make you basically do anything that he asks. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's how I look at it now.
The bullshit. The bullshit.
Well,
it's all bullshit.
Like I said, the trial is starting, and Diddy is facing life in prison.
Right.
He is charged with racketeering, which includes kidnapping,
Right.
sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty. He was trying to get bail multiple times, at one point putting up as much as $15 million, and he was denied each and every time. A bunch of stuff was seized from his home. Of course, there was all the baby oil and, you know, the dildos, and there was some rope. There was rope that I found and lingerie, but they did find some guns.
Right.
They found a semi-automatic AR-15 with magazines loaded with bullets. Some of the guns had like red dots on them, you know, like the laser sights, which is not common for these types of rifles. But there's also a couple guns that had the serial numbers scratched off.
Right.
Why do you think Puff had all those guns, some of which are essentially illegal? You're not allowed to scratch off a serial number.
Right.
That's a Fed case in and of itself.
Right.
I almost feel like if this doesn't go through, he'll get a superseding indictment for that gun.
Right.
Or those couple of guns. Why did Puff have those types of guns around, you think?
I don't know, because back in 2012, 2006, 2003, he ain't have none of that shit. He ain't have none of that. So I don't know what happened between to maybe the billionaire status got to him, maybe the drugs got to him, maybe the fear got to him. But when you got that type of money, you don't really need to have that type of stuff because you pay people to be around you that's legal to have that type of stuff. So I think it was something mentally wrong with him, yo.
Wait, but did Puff have 24-hour security? Like,
yeah, 24 hours.
Okay, so once you left, there was someone else to take over.
I never left.
Yeah, but you have to sleep.
That's when he sleep. I sleep when he sleep.
So while he's sleeping, there's nobody awake to protect him.
Nah, he's behind a gate. He's behind a gate. Every house got gates.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you go to the Miami house, well, where I stayed at was the guest house. So the guest house, my window was right over the gate. So if you ring that bell, my phone would ring. And I could look right out my window and see who's at the front gate. And then I'm going to get on the PA system. Yo, says at the front gate. Or I'm going to answer it myself. Yo, who's this? Or this says, oh, this might be, let's say for instance, yo, this Dallas or something like that. Okay, cool, like that. So, you know, there's no way. And even if you in a boat, you could ride up on the house in a boat. You know, that has happened a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? So I had to run out to where the boats or the jet skis is at. You know, it's just some regular random person and some rich person and pulled up on their boat. Yo, I heard this was Puff out. You know, that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it was 24-hour security. I lived there. You know, all the everyday security lived there. You know what I'm saying?
It's not like, okay, end of the night, I'm going to go to sleep, you go home, I'll see you tomorrow. No, you actually slept at the house.
Right.
Every time. Oh, wow. So you never really went home while you were working for Puff?
Nah. What we did was if we was out of town, I would work. And then when we got back to New York, somebody else would work.
Paul.
You know what I'm saying? Most of the time it was Paulie or whoever wasn't with me out of there. Sometimes we took times. You know, sometimes if he stay out there for 3 weeks or a month, I might be like, yo, I got to go home. You know what I'm saying? But otherwise than that, you know, I did my thing. Like if I went to the club or if I met somebody and spent the night with him or something like that, I hit him and be like, yo, I ain't coming. You going out? He'd be like, nah, I ain't going out. As long as he's staying home, you got the green light to go do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
He only going to hit you if he say, yo, I'm getting ready to get out of here.
Well, the trial has started, and in the very beginning, the sex workers were called. Well, one sex worker in particular, the Punisher.
Oh, yeah.
You actually know this guy.
Yeah, he from Harlem. He from Harlem.
He from
We
Harlem.
all from Harlem. Puff went local. Puff went local.
You said you were surprised that he used a local guy for this type of activity.
Yeah, because people talk. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised that, and Punisher must be one of those type of guys that don't talk because we never heard of nothing like that. And he right from 39th Street, 40th Street. So, I'm from 49th Street. I'm from 55th Street. So everybody is around the same way. So not to hear about it, then he really kept his mouth shut about it. That's why I was shocked because back in the days, Punisher had a name. You know what I'm saying? He had a real big name when it came to the stripping and stuff like that. So everybody knew who the Punisher was. So I was surprised he went local.
But he didn't know who. He didn't
he's
know
actually
it
coming
was
here
Puffy.
right after you. We're doing an interview with
me,
him.
right? Yeah, let's not
after
be here
you.
together. You don't want no rumors.
Yeah, and he said that right around 2012, he was contacted by Cassie. I guess he had a website called Get Punished.
Okay. See, that was 2012. That was when I left, so I never got a chance to see him.
Yeah. So basically, she reached out and said her and her husband want to create some sexy scenes. He didn't know who she was. He showed up. Diddy had a veil over his face.
Right.
And they engaged in sexual activity. She said Cassie seemed very comfortable.
Right.
She didn't seem like she was forced. They would use huge amounts of baby oil.
Right.
And Diddy would just have a veil. Yeah, an Astroglide. Diddy would have a veil over his face and be naked from the neck down.
Wow.
But then after a while, he realized it was Puff. So he said after that, he would just wear a Yankees hat.
Okay. So he knew it was him.
He knew it was him.
Okay.
Yeah. And, she said that, he said that basically during after the first encounter, Cassie made it clear she was doing this for Diddy. He said Diddy never act jealous while they were together. They would meet up in high-end hotels. There was a whole bunch of times, I think like 8 to 12 times they would meet up.
He must have did his job good.
He did his job, I guess. Yeah, 8 to 12 encounters. Diddy would give him directions. He would tell Cassie what to do and so forth. He said he never saw any affection between the two, and he would get about $2,000, for every situation.
Okay.
He said there was no sexual interaction between him and Diddy.
Okay.
Diddy just watched and pleasured himself.
Well, I definitely know some women that Punisher was with, so I never thought that he went that way. You know what I'm saying? Because I definitely know he was smashing a lot of bras.
Well, and he even said that he didn't feel like he was trafficked. He was down to do it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting paid to have sex with Cassie. That's not really a bad job.
That ain't a bad job at all. Good God Almighty.
Yeah.
Good God Almighty.
A lot of people would do it for free.
Exactly.
Good God, I would pay to do it. Oops.
So, and he even said,
I'm going to jail.
I don't know.
I'm going to jail.
I don't think I'm benefiting the defense or the prosecution. They asked me to come in, so I'm coming in. Did you personally know him? Like, did you guys have conversations and so forth?
Nah, we never had no conversations.
You just know of him?
Yeah.
Well, when they showed all the male escorts, there was another guy that you knew.
Oh, yeah, Greg.
Yeah. Right. So, did you know Greg personally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Greg was one of the young dudes that was hanging out in Miami a lot. If I'm not mistaken, he from Miami.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And Puffer hit me and be like, yo, you know Greg? Yeah, I know Greg. Yo, can you get him in the club tonight? All right, I got you. Because I used to have to do what they call advances before Puff come to the club. Mm-hmm. So he'd be like, yo, can you grab Greg outside? And I used to be like, oh, I ain't know what the tie was between him and Greg, but I ain't really think of it because, yo, this dude is one of them dudes that don't get no hair on his face or nothing like that. And then we talking about 2000 and maybe 8 or 9. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know how old Greg was. I just knew he was a young dude. And it was a couple of times where we even went like to Atlanta or something like that. And like I said, I would have the adjoining room to Puff and Cassie. But a couple of times it was like, nah, you ain't got that room. Nah, what you mean I ain't got that room? Nah, you down the hall. And I might see Greg. And I'd be like, yo, what the fuck they got going on? But I ain't never really paid no attention to. I seen all the pictures of the escorts last week, and I said, oh shit, they go Greg. This little dude was the escort. And I never knew that though.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of wild stuff happened in those rooms. I guess
My bad,
various
John. I'm
escorts would pee in Cassie's mouth.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
heard
God.
about that, man.
I'm eating,
So she'd
man.
get like
oh my
sores
God.
in her mouth and stuff like that.
And that's crazy because, yo, that was wifey, yo. And when I say wifey, I mean like that was somebody who you felt like, yo, you see them kissing all the time. You see them at the kitchen table. You see like I'm thinking something, like once I read all that stuff and seen all that stuff, I said something mentally wrong with him because I'm not kissing all over her and doing all this other stuff if I know I got her doing this and that. So you just nasty.
Damn,
I mean, when you saw them
young.
together, did they both seem in love?
I mean, it depends on what you seeing. Yeah, I seen some happy times. Can't nobody say they ain't seen no happy times. But it's times that I also seen Cassie look like she was drifting off. You know what I'm saying? Look like she was sad. You know what I'm saying? Look like she had a lot on her mind. You know what I'm saying? And when you're dealing with Diddy, you don't know who's real and who's not. Because everybody is playing a role to be liked by this man. A role to act like they good. Like if he say a corny ass joke, everybody gonna laugh and shit like that. So you don't know what's real and what's not. But it's definitely times that I seen her look like she was really, really sad. She wanted her career. She wanted her career, and I feel like she just didn't want to disappoint him in any type of way, form, or fashion because it was still that chance that he would give it to her.
You know, I know someone that knows both of them. And I remember I had a conversation with them. This was an off-the-record conversation, so I'm not going to say who it is. But this guy told me that when him and Cassie were together, just the two of them, and they were just friends, right? There was nothing going on, that she would always say, hey, convince your friend Puffy to marry me because I just want to get married. Like, I'm tired of just being this girlfriend. Like, convince him to marry me. And he'd be, okay, cool, I'll talk to him. And from what I understand, she really wanted to marry him.
Oh, no question. I remember one time, we was in the Hamptons and he pulled me out and he said, yo, man, shorty putting pressure on me. I said, what she putting pressure on you for? He said, man, she putting pressure on me to get married, da-da-da-da. He said, man, but it's between her and Kim. You know what I'm saying? And I kept it all the way 100 with him. I said, yo, you been with shorty a long time. You know what I'm saying? You care about shorty? He said, yeah. I said, but you been with Kim a long time too. And she got them kids. You know what I'm saying? I think you should get with Kim. And it was funny because like a week or two later, Cassie said, Barnes, I heard you. And I said, yo, you heard what? She said, yeah, Puff butt dialed me when he asked you that question and you answered him. She said, but I ain't upset. I ain't mad. I understand. And I said, damn, man. I said, damn, this nigga don't do nothing right, man. I said, I kind of felt kind of funny around her after that because she had heard my response, but it was a true response. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Was Cassie ever pregnant?
I don't know. I heard rumors, you know what I'm saying, around the office that she was. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things was the type of things that she would take care or she would do on a vacation or when where Cassie at? Oh, she went away with her girlfriends for a couple of days. So, and I wasn't one to really pry into certain things. So I would, but from what I heard, allegedly she was.
And she got an abortion?
That's what I heard. Yeah.
That's weird because Puff got a gang of kids already. In fact, he had one not too long ago.
Yeah.
Clearly he doesn't have a vasectomy. You know what I mean? And seems like he likes his kids.
No,
Takes care of them, loves them, supports them. He's not a deadbeat dad by any stretch of the imagination. So if you're with this girl for this long, why not have your baby?
Because you know what you got that girl doing. And in the back of your mind, you can't have no baby by a girl that you got drinking pee and doing all type of shit. You know, and I'm being real with you. Like, some of these other girls, from what I hear, the last baby mother is into the tech world and stuff like that. Kim is already old school. You done been with her forever. You know what I'm saying? Sarah, you done been with forever. Ever, you know what I'm saying? So Cassie was a young girl that you can manipulate and do whatever. So if I could get her pregnant and then tell her that she got to get an abortion and she listened, then I feel like that he was going to do that. Because at the end of the day, I feel like even some of the beatings that she got was a mental thing in his head playing back the things that he had her doing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was one of the main reasons that he didn't let her have a baby, was because of what he was doing to her.
Well, when Cassie took the stand, she gave some really crazy details. And I think the craziest part, which most people talked about, was she would say that dudes would like bust on her chest, and then she would go to Diddy and rub cum on his nipples.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. Yeah.
You know what I said? When I heard that, I said, Puff can never win an argument with a man ever again. Because, you know, if y'all start arguing, all the guy has to say is, well, I didn't rub a dude's cum on my nipples.
Yeah. I was saying,
how do you respond to that?
No, that's what I'm saying. He got to go back to jail now. So I'm saying to myself, like, what is you saying to these dudes back here? How is you looking at them? You still Puff. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was crazy. That was from that. And then she said something about he would make her drink the cum and then go kiss him and do stuff like that.
Wait, he did that?
Yeah, that's what they said. You know,
that's called, I know what that's called. It's called a snowball.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's a name for it?
It's like a porn term. Like,
Okay.
Not the kind of porn I watch, mind you.
Okay.
But I've just heard about this before.
It's a name for it.
Like, you know, like cuckold type porn.
Okay.
Like dudes would come in a girl's mouth and she would like not swallow, then go kiss the cuckold and kind of spit the cum in his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing.
No, it ain't either.
Okay.
That ain't no thing in my book.
Yeah, that's
Definitely
crazy
not my
right there.
thing.
That ain't no thing in my
I'm trying to
world.
identify with the nut on your nipples. What is that doing?
I don't know, man.
You know?
But here's the thing, right? And I've said this. With everyone taking the stand, and these are people that were really around Puff. These are escorts. This is Cassie, you know, so forth and so forth.
Right.
You see all this stuff that's gay-ish, right? Rubbing a dude's cum on your nipples is gay-ish. But no one has said, and then Puffy got
gay-ish.
head from a dude. Even the Punisher dude said, me and Puffy had no interactions.
Right.
Cassie could easily have said, yeah, then Diddy got his back blown out by one of the escorts. Or, you know, whatever, the other way around.
Right.
Nobody has ever said this. Now, he could be doing those things with like a guy that no one knows about, but you're around all the time.
Right.
Do you think Puffy is gay or bisexual? Or do you think that he just likes this weird shit that kind of like dances around the line of it?
I mean, it depends on what you say bisexual is, because I'm definitely going to say all that shit that she said is bisexual.
It's bisexual-ish.
Okay.
And I'm just
Ain't
saying,
no
like,
ish. Fuck a ish.
I just think it's different than actually doing something with the man.
So you asking me if I think he been penetrated or something?
Or he's gotten head from a dude. Because there's been lawsuits that allege this.
Right.
But the thing is, though, right, and you know, because I try to be fair. You know, I'm not just throwing anyone under the bus.
Right.
I remember I talked to a lawyer that was close to the situation.
Okay.
And what he said was interesting. He said, look, there's like 100 lawsuits against Puff. You don't think the feds look through every single lawsuit to try to pull in, you know, the people into this actual case? None of those lawsuits included people in this Fed case, which makes me think that a lot of those allegations are just nonsense or just completely unprovable.
Right.
So everyone, it's a lot different to file a civil lawsuit than to actually take the stand, take the oath, and then lie, and then potentially go thrown in jail for perjury. Right. So do you think that Puff was actually doing really gay stuff with a man? Getting penetrated, getting head from a man, like?
Myself, I don't think so, because it's like what you said. I think somebody would step with everybody stepping up the way that they is now.
That's what I'm saying.
I believe somebody would say, even, and we all know, you know, I love, you know, we all know the bisexual men, we all know the gay men love to scream and tell somebody, yeah, you think you all that, this is what happened. Right. So, you know what I'm saying, for that not to happen, I don't think he was.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, I think he just I can't even say he's a freak. He's more than a freak. You know what I'm saying? I think he's just weird.
I don't want to be a freak.
If someone tells me, like
but
yourself,
I can't help myself.
Is rubbing cum on some other dude's cum on her nipples gay? I think it's gay. I'm not going to argue with you. Say no, that's not gay. Right. I'm just saying that
I think
there's different
gay.
levels to this, and Once you cross
level.
the line of actually doing things with the man themselves,
Right.
You gay.
that to me is, okay, you're actually gay. You actually like physical, intimacy with a male.
Right.
And I just feel like there's always been a woman involved. And like the Punisher said, he never did anything with Puff. Puff was just there in the corner.
Right.
You know?
And Cassie said a lot of the stuff that they did in another room. You know what I'm saying? That she would go in the other room. So I think that he ain't want the guy to see that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And this, that, and other. So I think it might have just been some type of free. I want my girl to do this, We freak and we turn it out. Some people get turning the person out turns them on. So I think by him turning her out that it turned them on.
Now, was Kim Porter doing freakoffs as well?
I have no idea, but what I would say is all the evidence, all the hotel runs, because the same thing I did with Cassie, I did with Kim.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I would take them to the hotels. I would, he might hit me and say, yo, can you run and get me some baby oil and some Astroglide from CVS?
How would you feel when you're going on baby oil runs?
I'm gonna be real with you.
How was the most amount of baby oil or Astroglide that you buy at one time?
2 bottles.
That's it?
2 bottles. 2 bottles or 2 bottles.
They bought 1,000 bottles.
Yeah. I see. A lot of shit changed from 2011 to now, because I used to buy like 2 bottles. You know what I'm saying? Yo, just leave it in front of the door. You know what I'm saying? And I leave it in front of the hotel door, and as I walk down the elevator, I can hear the hotel door open, and somebody just grab it and pull it back in. You know what I'm saying? So 2 and 2 was the most. You know what I'm saying? So all the evidence that I would say goes towards, I would say she was having freak-offs, because I was doing the same drop-off for the weekend. They might stay 2-3 days, and he'd be like, yo, you off until I call you, but I'm probably going to call you Sunday. Sometime he'll call right that Sunday. Sometime he'd be like, nah, we staying for another day. So, allegedly it looked like,
Well, Albie Shore, who has a son with Kim Porter, that's Quincy, right?
Yeah.
Has kind of for a while, spoke about this conspiracy theory that Puffy has something to do with Kim Porter's death or something like that. I personally have never believed that. Do you think there's any truth in that at all?
I don't want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? But I also ain't know everything, all this stuff that's going on. So one thing I know that Puff loves is money more than anything in the world. You know what I'm saying? So with me not knowing all of this other stuff that was going on, I don't know mentally. Like mentally, I can't even see him doing half of the shit that they've proven that he's been doing. So in my mind, the way that I see him with the kids and the way I seen him with Kim and everything like that, I would say if somebody was to ask me, I would say no, he don't have nothing to do with it. But after everything that I've been seeing lately and everything that's going on, I don't want the media to sway me in one way or another. I would say no. But then if Kim was talking about threatening to come out with different things, I don't put that past him.
Well, during cross-examination, they showed text messages where Cassie was like, I'm always ready for a freak-off. I love these freak-offs. I'm whatever. Do you feel on some level that Cassie really enjoyed it and really liked it, and maybe certain times she didn't? To me, it doesn't seem like she was being forced every time.
Right.
What do you think, based on being around them?
I think it was drugs. You know what I'm saying? I think a certain amount of drugs is going to make you feel a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the things that we all hear is about the amount of drugs that they was doing. So you probably doing it to get to that point where you really don't care or you really do enjoy. So if I had to answer it, I would say depending on how much drugs they did, I think it was times that she really did enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I think it was times that she actually didn't remember it. You know what I'm saying? I remember one conversation, but I just had my ears open and I heard Puff say, yo, man, I don't remember that shit. I was high, yo. So when I hear about some of the stuff that they say and he say, yo, I didn't remember I was high, I know that some of that shit is true because I heard him say that shit before.
Now, 50 Cent's baby mother, Daphne Joy, was mentioned. And I know that she was hanging around Puff. Was that after you left?
Yeah, that was after.
So you never saw her?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah.
Got it. You know, 'cause
Him and Puff always had that off and on type of situation. We almost had a fight at the MTV Awards and all that stuff.
Okay, so he mentions this. I remember I mentioned this to Tony Yayo when he was on my show last week.
Right.
So I guess at one point, there was some sort of friction with 50 Cent, and it was at the MTV Awards.
Right.
And I guess they were talking, and Diddy was like, I don't like that all that back and forth stuff. I like guns.
Okay.
Do you remember that conversation?
I don't remember that conversation because him and 50 went off to the side, but I remember it was just me and Diddy there. And it was Yayo and a bunch of dudes from Queens sitting there, and it was 50. And Puff was like, yo, I'm just going to walk up on him and punch him in his face. And
Wait.
Yeah.
Puff said he's going to walk up on 50 Cent and punch him in the face.
Yeah, he said, I'm just going to punch him in the face. And I said, yo, what are you talking about? He said, yo, ain't that your man? Ain't that your man? He said, man, go talk to your man. I said, yo, hold up, B, because he knew me and Yayo was tight.
Oh, hold on.
Let me
see if I get Yayo on the phone real quick. Hold on a sec. I gotta hold on. This is too good. I try to get Yayo on the phone.
Yeah,
just to get his reaction to this.
So I try to talk some sense in Puff head because the other people that was around is just crash dummies. Whatever Puff say do, they do. Me, I'm thinking about the repercussions. So I said, no matter how tight me and Yayo is, you punch his man in the face, all of them niggas is getting up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just me and him. So I said, yo, B, you can't do that, man. I said, yo, it's just me and you here. He said, what, you scared? You scared? I said, nah, I ain't scared. I said, I'm just telling you like that don't make no sense. So him and 50 talked. And then after about 10 minutes of them talking, he said, all right, come on, yo, let's go. And then Yayo came up and me and him started talking. And he told Puff, yo, you know who you got with you? He was like, yeah, I know. Woo, woo. And that was the end of that. Because that was like a conversation and a beef and a problem that was over my head. Yeah, it was there because we bumped into him. But I know that they talk on the phone all the time or they deal with stuff a different way. And then it was times when we got together and they act like they was hunky-dory. So I really didn't know what was going on with them. It was an off and on type thing.
That's the fakeness. Everybody know that.
When I mentioned the whole gun thing to Tony Yayo, I don't like to go back and forth. I got guns. Tony was like, yeah, we were into guns too.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
We were ready for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have bulletproof trucks. After Diddy and 50 had been doing some press for MTV, Diddy told her that he was having some problems with 50 and that I like guns, in terms of dealing with it.
We like guns too. At that point, niggas would have got eradicated. It was like, come on, bro. We have bulletproof trucks. Like, we like guns too. Like, when it come to 50 and us, we beef with the best of them. Like, I never had a friendship with Diddy. I never had a friendship with not too many people in the industry. So that's all I know. But at that point, like, in my 20s at that time, and still to now, like, I'm just keeping it real. I don't want to say anything crazy because the internet has been indicting people lately. So I don't want to say that crazy. But, like, I'm just like, that would have been crazy for him. I think Diddy was just talking that day. I think he was just talking. I think he just wanted to look good because, come on, bro. No way.
I remember how 50 and them used to wear the bulletproof vests on stage?
Yeah.
And so forth. I remember being in G-Unit offices. This was about maybe 2004 or so. Okay. And, I would show up with my camera. This was when I was a DJ and I was doing DVDs. And I remember Tony Yayo walks into G-Unit offices, takes off his jacket, and he had a bulletproof vest on, just walking around.
Right.
This is not a stage prop.
Right.
This is not for entertainment. Yayo was really wearing a vest.
Right. That's when they was beefing with Jimmy Henchman.
With Jimmy Henchman. Because remember, his Bentley got shot up.
Right.
So Yayo was like, oh, okay. He should have done that. We were ready for that.
Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Jimmy even told me that. Jimmy even said they not to be played with, Bonds. He said they not to be played with. And hearing that from him was a surprise to me.
I mean, look, I know 50. I'm not best friends with him, but we know each other. if Puff would have punched 50 in the face, 50 would have punched him right back.
Oh, no question.
Like 50's big also.
No question.
He's like my height, stocky, muscular.
And
I've seen him
he
get
got
in
a
fights with
boxing
people.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh no,
what the
50
hell was
can
Puffy
rumble.
thinking saying that?
Puff go about, not him, he go about who he got around him.
So he felt you were going to handle that whole problem.
Yeah,
You're
I
going
don't
to
know.
fight 10 guys by yourself.
Yeah, he knew me and Yayo was tight. I guess he thought, Puff, I give that to Puff. When it comes to a fight game, he don't care. That ain't the only instance, I seen him jumping dudes 3 times his size face. You know what I'm saying? He'll fight you all day long. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't he slap Drake at one point?
Yeah, I wasn't there for
you
that.
weren't there, yeah.
I was finished, but they gave me the call the next day and said, yo, your man just smacked Drake. I'm like, huh?
So that was true.
Yeah, that was definitely true. At Liz.
And
At
what
Liz.
happened exactly? Did they give you the details?
Nah, he said Puff seen him and he banged on his car window and then he jumped out and they was talking and he just smacked him. He smacked him over a record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, start from the bottom.
Yeah.
That beat. I guess Puff had that beat first and Drake took it or
But
something.
he said Puff didn't want the beat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then Puff is the type of person that when you make something hot off the beat, that was mine first. You know what I'm saying?
You're just being petty, baby.
It was that type, but he definitely smacked him.
Okay.
He was being petty.
Diddy's assistant, Capricorn
And
Clark,
what Drake do? Drake ain't
took
do
the
nothing.
stand.
Yeah.
Damn.
I seen
And
Cap.
she went into the whole Kid Cudi story.
Right.
Now, was Cudi recording with Cassie while you're still there?
Nah.
So all this happened afterwards?
Yeah, this happened afterwards.
Well, according to Capricorn, Cassie started to creep around with Kid Cudi behind his back. Capricorn was scared for Cassie, so she got her a burner phone. And at one point, when Cudi was with Cassie, I guess Puff found out about it. So he got Capricorn and his new security, Ruben.
Rube, yeah.
Rube is D-Rock's little man.
Right, he come from Junior Mafia.
Exactly. Do you know him personally?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did he choose Ruben as security for that point? Because he was close to D-Rock and so forth?
Well, Rube, he knew Rube from back in Junior Mafia days. But then when D-Rock got out of jail, Rube started coming around all the time. So he started traveling with us when we was out of town, and he was basically one of the security. You know what I'm saying? So Rube was D-Rock man. When D-Rock couldn't make it, Rube would come. So he felt real comfortable with Rube. You know what I'm saying? So him and Rube became close. So when I left at the end of 2011, Rube kind of filled in where I was at. And he became that everyday person. He moved out to LA, everything else. So Rube didn't have a lot of things that I had. Like I had a wife at that time. Rube wasn't married. So his availability was there. He didn't have nothing to run home with. His son was with Christian every day. So it was a reason that he was there. So, Puff finds a way to take advantage of everybody and everything around him.
Well, according to Capricorn, when Puffy found out about Kid Cudi, he went and got a gun, got Ruben as security, and got Capricorn and said, we're going to go kill Cudi. Let's go. And I guess he made Capricorn give him the address.
Right.
So the three of them jumped in the car to go to Kid Cudi's house.
Right.
Have you ever seen Puff do something this reckless before?
I'm just saying, the Puff that I see now wasn't nothing like the person I seen in 2011. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't know if it was drugs. I don't know if it was the billionaire status making him feel like he was untouchable. I don't even know if it might have been some things that he went through and got away with, so he felt like he was untouchable now. But when he say killing, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I think that was a figure of speech of somebody being mad. I'm gonna go kill him, because Puff ain't killing nobody.
Well, what about just grabbing a gun and going
Puff
somewhere?
ain't killing
Did Puff
nobody.
ever hold his own guns before?
Not when I was around.
Yeah.
Nah, not when I was around.
That seemed a little weird. That almost seemed like Capricorn
Yeah.
put a little extra on it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't put it past him.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it comes a time where you around people and you trying to keep a facade up. So by you trying to keep a facade up, you go outside your body. And Puff has done that a million different times when you say a person of that status and that amount of money is not supposed to be involved in certain things. I've seen Puff get involved in certain things, certain fights, let's go, we're going to punch him in the face, we're going to do. But everybody's not fighting, Puff. So if you want to go up there and fight, everybody's not fighting. And I used to tell him that. He'd be like, yo, what that nigga said about me? And him and Kid Cudi always had a little situation. I don't know what it was, but it was one time we went to a concert and me and Puff walked in and he heard Kanye on the stage and Kanye was performing. Mm-hmm. And Puff said, yo, come on. So I don't know what's going on. So we run up behind stage. And as soon as Kanye got off, Puff jumped in his face. And I said, yo, what's that about? He said, nigga, that's the 16 that Kanye just wrote for me. He's up there performing the 16 that he sent me for my record, because everybody know Puff don't write his own stuff. Mm-hmm. So I had no idea that was the 16, but and Kanye had no idea that Puff was coming to the concert. So when we walked in, he heard the same 16 that Kanye must have sent him. So it was actually Kid Cudi concert. So Kanye was performing because Cudi was his artist. Mm-hmm. And while we was backstage, it was me and D-Rock, one of Kid Cudi said, yo, I don't know what Puff here for. The only thing he could bring me is Ciroc. You know what I'm saying? So while we was riding back, D-Rock went and told Puff, yo, B, the nigga was talking shit. He said, yo, so why y'all niggas ain't set it off? He said, yo, Bonds stopped me. So, Puff started looking at me like, yo, you scared or something? And it wasn't that I was scared. It's just that I'm a thinker, yo. I'm not jumping out the window for every little thing. So I feel like Puff had a little animosity against Kid Cudi anyway.
I mean, how many physical fights did you get into while doing security?
I only got into one physical fight, and that was in Miami in 2006 at the Super Bowl. Huh. I had took over King of Diamonds. We was actually the first one to take it. Me and Puff came up with an idea because he said, yo, I got with the guy that owned King of Diamonds, and he said, yo, let's do an after party for Puff here. So Puff said, yo, I'm not interrupting my money, because back then Mansion and everything was rocking, and he was already booked for that. So I said, all right, let's do the after party to the party. And we did that. And when Puff got on stage, that was the first time Drake ever been to King of Diamonds. Had just opened. And when Puff came, he came with everybody, from Drake to Rick Ross to everybody. And somebody had said some real slick stuff to him from down below. And we had got into a little fight and everything there. It wasn't nothing big, but that was the only physical fight that I could say. Everything else was basically taken care of because of who I was. And when I stepped to the person, he was, nah, we don't want no problems, this, that type of thing like that. But physically, that was the only fight.
Okay, so according to Capricorn, Puff grabs a gun, grabs her and Ruben, and they go to Kid Cudi's house. Mm-hmm. Puff and Ruben get out the house. She's in the car, and she can see them breaking into the house. Once they're in the house, God knows what happened. Apparently, something happened to the dog.
I seen that on the court thing. They said he locked the dog in the bathroom or something.
Here's what I think really happened. I think Puff walked in the house and said, "You gonna fuck my bitch? I'm gonna fuck your bitch." He grabbed the dog. He grabbed the baby oil.
Oh my God!
Fuck the dog. Huh?
Fuck the dog.
Yeah,
that's what I think happened.
God.
Yeah, that would be
I can't
crazy.
prove it.
Yeah, that would be
the dog
crazy.
was never the same after that.
Yeah, yeah. So they went in the house.
They went in the house.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
but how
that's
they
crazy.
get in the house?
I guess they broke into the house.
Oh, okay.
No, it probably
they
was
broke
open.
into the house.
It probably was open.
And then once whatever dog activities happened inside, they came back to the car. I guess it was an Escalade. They drove off, but I guess like while they're in the house, Capricorn called Cassie and was like, "Yo, like Puff is in Kid Cudi's house." I guess she was on speakerphone, and Kid Cudi was like, "He's in my house? Like what the hell?" So Cudi jumps in his car and heads to the house.
Right.
As Puff is driving off, they literally pass Kid Cudi.
Okay.
So Puff turns around and starts chasing his car.
Oh, wow.
But once they get close to the house, he hears the sirens and all that. So they turn around and speed off.
Okay.
But from what I understand, one of the cops that were at the scene saw the Escalade, swerve off, took down the license plate of it, and when they looked it up, it was a Bad Boy vehicle.
Right.
So it pretty much puts him at the scene.
Right. But a lot of people drove because every car we had was either Escalade or Yukon, and they was all underneath the Bad Boy insurance and all that other stuff.
I get that, but to have that car at Kid Cudi's house at that time is not a coincidence.
No, okay, I agree.
It's not just a random Bad Boy employee just driving past that particular street at that time.
Exactly.
So it pretty much puts him there. Are you surprised that he would actually break into someone's house and so forth? Because then afterwards, Kid Cudi's Porsche gets firebombed.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
I mean, to actually break, that shit sounds ludicrous to me. It's been times where we went over to Kim's house and Kim wouldn't let him in and we stood out there for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours.
Wait, what?
This, that, and the other.
He would be out there for 6 hours.
What? Like, yo, I know she in here, Barnes. I know she in here. And be banging on the door and everything and they're trying to figure out a way to get in, but in reality, that wasn't breaking in the house because he paid for the house. You know what I'm saying? Because I would be like, why is we out here for like this, man, the police? So what if the police come? This is my house. So he was paying for the house anyway. But for him to like break it to a Kid Cudi house and like to actually, I don't know, but love make you do crazy things. So I don't know.
I heard that.
And one thing about Puff is he big on respect. So maybe he felt like it was a disrespect, and I don't know. But for him to break in the house, that shit sound crazy. Now, did it happen? I wouldn't put it past him.
Well, yeah. Once he got back to his house, and Cassie was there, Capricorn said that he beat her 100% full force. Kicking her.
Beat Cassie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kicked her as hard as he could. She was just whimpering in the fetal position and so forth. And I guess Puffy said that if she intervened, he would attack her next. And all the security sat around and just watched.
Okay. So I don't know what security was there then.
Yeah, I guess it's Ruben.
Yeah. I know that something happened, you know what I'm saying, because I know that Capricorn got a payout, you know what I'm saying, around that same particular time. You hear stuff just being in the office. You know what I'm saying? You know that she stopped working, and then you hear, her lawyer call, and I forgot who Puff lawyer was at that time, and then you hear, she got 400,000, 500,000, and then she stopped working there. I see, what happened? Puff smacked her, Puff hit her. So I know for sure he had hit Capricorn at that particular time, and she took that payout and left. But then I think
she came back.
That's what I was going to say. Another year or two, she came back, but she came back in a different role. She came back as his personal liaison, and she was working directly with him. So she would go with us on video shoots and different stuff, and her job would be to make sure that he had everything he wanted and put everything together for him. And then she left again after that, over some, it was so crazy because he called me and it was over her asking the chef to cook her some eggs and why did the chef put onions inside the eggs? And then Puff came down and went crazy, and he called me over the mic and said, get her out my house. And he threw all the shit out the house in Miami. And Capricorn said, all I did was ask for some eggs without the onions, Barnes. I said, you just gotta leave, I said, just leave, And I was surprised because when I was listening to some of her stuff, I heard that she came back again in 2016.
Right.
So I was kind of shocked about that because I had no idea about that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, she also claimed that at one point, some of Puff's jewelry went missing. So he locked her in a room for like 40 hours and made her take a bunch of lie detector tests.
Oh, my God.
Until like 5 days later, when they finally cleared her, it was cool. But do you know about this at all?
I heard about it, but I wasn't there then.
Okay.
I came about, I want to say 3 months after that. But I heard about it, that it was like $2 million worth of jewelry and Capricorn. It was at the office. So when I came, it was but she did mention 1710. So 1710 was the Sean John Bad Boy Ciroc office. So that was the whole building that Puff brought on 55th and Broadway. But before that, they was in 1440. So it actually happened when they was in 1440, but she said they took her to 1710 and it was under construction. So I heard it through the grapevine of the office and stuff like that, but I wasn't there for that. And that's another reason I say God bless me not to be there for those type things.
Well, I guess Capricorn used to work for Suge Knight at one point.
I don't know if she worked for Suge, but her and Stormy is really, really, really tight. Because Capricorn is from L.A. So she went to high school and everything else out of L.A. And her and Suge baby mother is really tight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And she also said that at one point, her and Lauren London were hanging out. Did you ever see Lauren London around?
All the time.
All the time?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Because who is Lauren friends with? Puff?
I don't know where the friendship came from, but she used to be with Capricorn all the time. So when you see people with Capricorn all the time, you don't know if they Puff friend or if they Cap friend, because that's how tight everybody was. So I started seeing her with Cassie. I seen her with Puff all the time. I never seen her and Puff doing anything personal. You know what I'm saying? It was always in the studio. You know what I'm saying? It was always those type at the house, but all that. But it was never them two alone. It was always Capricorn around or somebody else around.
Yeah, I guess part of the testimony was this one time when she was there with Puffy and Lauren London, he was having Cassie do a bunch of tasks in front of them, and he was pointing out how they weren't doing the same type of things. And he said, you know, that's why, and he was saying like, that's why you guys don't have a man like me. You know, he said, let me show you something. You know, he called Cassie over, asked her to sit down, stand up, turn around, turn the other way, walk there, grab that, hand me that, walk back, turn around, go back to the room. He said, yeah, did you see that? You bitches won't do that. That's why you don't have a man.
I can see that. Because Puff is a show-off. He want to show off. He don't care about making somebody look bad as long as he look good. And that was one of the things that I never really liked about him, because he would do stupid shit like that in front of a girl that wasn't really part of our family or wasn't around us every day just to show that he a boss. You know what I'm saying? He might ask me to do something that's really not underneath the security type of thing, like go get her bags or do stuff like that. And that's just to make him, you know, feel bigger. So I could see him doing that.
I mean, did you see him have Cassie do a bunch of meaningless tasks like that? Stand up, turn around, and go here.
Nah, I never seen him do that. Nah.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting when Cassie, I guess, was breaking up with Puffy, and she was like, who do I date next? Is Jay-Z available?
Yeah, I could see that. Because Cassie was really, like the first time me and Cassie smoked some weed together in Miami in like 2008. I think it was when she first started coming around, and she said, oh my God, I can't believe I'm smoking some weed with Puff Security. And I looked at her like, huh? You know, and then one time I had to get in the club and she said, oh, I feel like Jennifer Lopez. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying to myself, like, yo, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So I could see that. He found a kid, yo. He found a kid. And he took advantage of a kid that he knew wanted to be a star.
Well, another person took the stand recently, one of Diddy's assistants. Now, the name that she was presented to in court was Mia, because she was trying to hide her identity. But at this point, we all know who this really is. It's not Mia, it's who was his personal assistant at one point.
Right.
Did you know?
Yeah, very well.
Okay. Now,
Damn,
she
he saying the name.
claimed that Diddy repeatedly sexually assaulted her while she was employed over the course of 8 years.
Right.
Damn, he just said the name? Come on, Vlad. Play by the rules. He done said the lady's name. She's supposed to be MIA. Don't nobody supposed to know who the person is. And you running a YouTube channel. You know what? I was always 50-50. I was trying to lean with my people that don't like. We're gonna stop it right here, man. Oh my God, man. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, bruh. Play fair. In the court system, they want to keep her name. They don't want to market and promote the girl's name. So why are you helping them? I don't even want to put this video on my channel because you saying her name. Jesus Christ, man. Oh man, I'm gonna have to call my editors and tell them to beep the name out. I don't want to be involved with tainting this daggone case in any kind of way, man. We gotta stop right here, man. I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna say when they. Oh, no. And then I had a nerve to rewind it. Vlad, you are. Oh my God. Shame on you, man. For saying the lady's name. Am I right? Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. The girls, they got her name. She's a John Doe or Jane Doe. They call her Mia. Even, oh my God. Which kind kept saying she's a Mia. That's not her real name, but that's the name she going by because she want to stay undercover. And then they start figuring out who she is by the drawings. You know, your friends know, and they get on social media. Yeah, that's her. I knew it was her. I could tell it's her. You know, the way somebody talk and the outline of them, like trying to disguise Uncle Mike. Y'all know it's me. Look here, man. I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. This dude, man, he's a clown, dude. You's a clown in too many different ways. You just put the icing on the cake. Y'all take it light, man. Take it slow. Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out, man. Peace out.